Adepticon has come and gone, and I wanted to wait a little bit before doing another news video. This one's not quite as much in regards to huge announcements, like the core box, core rules, and the new starter set, though there are some comparable updates all the same. So, I think this is all big news, even if some of you might have seen some of this somewhere else first over the last few days. So, let's get started, shall we? First things first, the items that excite everyone the most. There are new boxes coming. Or rather, we're getting more details for some new boxes that are coming out. The main first one is going to be a Barnes & Noble exclusive, which is the Camacho's Calabreros box. As revealed in this channel's Grand Titan video last year, where I got to show off the new appearance for the Grand Titan, this design is going to be coming out in plastic this year, and will no less be in this particular box set. 100 tons of fun. And the new Ilclan variant coming out with the box, with its twin snub-nosed PPCs with caps, and a Clantech 400XL engine with supercharger, should be a load of fun. N20C variant is going to be a wrecking ball. Just don't try to draw too much fire too quickly with it. Next up, we're going to see the Swayback in plastic. For those of you who haven't seen Tex's great video on the Hunchback in its various forms, the vile heresy of the Swayback turns its back on the fundamentals of what it is to be a Hunchback, and therefore they do not have a giant right shoulder cannon, but instead most typically they have a wall of medium lasers, or sometimes other systems like missiles. In this case, the miniature within should be the HPK-4P, and later iterations of it. So yes, the party back is on its way. What a wonderful day! In this set there is also going to be an advanced Phoenix Hawk variant, the Pixie 7K. This particular model ended up in the box to represent the time the Camachos had spent in the Draconis Combine. This is still one of the meaner variants of the Phoenix Hawk in general, and it supports a snub-nosed PPC. Come to think of it, this is basically a Snub Squad box, it kinda looks like. And of course, to finish things off, no pack can be perfect. It's evidently a redesigned Albatross will be included. A ton of people do love this design because, well, it has a giant beak, though its performance and configurations are often not quite as mighty as its enormous armored cowl. Still, I'll be interested to see what the redesign actually ends up looking like, and I will be interested in what its new configuration is. I genuinely hope that the new variant is coherent and isn't a death trap to the pilot. Such a magnificent external rostrum structure deserves its flowers eventually. This set is expected to drop this year from what I have heard, but it's going to be in the back half of the year, so either Q3 or Q4. And still, things might not even end up being there. Things can always get delayed, so you might see it in Q1 of next year. Who knows? Obviously though, I think it's going to be epic when it drops. There is some big movement for Rasalhague Dominion fans, and for fans of Battletech ACES as a system. What is it, you may ask? Why, it's the Snowblind box set. CGL had 4 sets of these planned when they began adopting the solo and cooperative play system for Alpha Strike, with the first point, Scouring Sands, the box featuring Clan Jade Falcon already being done and out. It's now time for part 2, evidently. I love the Ghost Bears, so this set makes me smile out the gate. It's also got a ton of vicious mechs in it. First up, you've got the Novacat V. You know, the one that's got 90 LRMs on board? The one that everyone wants to avoid fighting at all costs? That one. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. After that, we're looking at the mighty Viking 2C, which has, you guessed it, a monstrous volume of LRMs on board. It also has some micro pulse lasers and the like. One mech that is hugely beloved by the community and has already seen a release prior in a force pack, but is now making another appearance here in Snowblind is the Kingfisher. This giant assault mech is named for a tiny bird known for eating fish. The more you know. Anyway, the new model looks really solid, and it is a different Omni configuration from what we've seen so far. It's the second biggest mech in the set, just behind the Viking. After this, we're looking at another Grizzly. There is a model currently available, and I believe it is in the Clan Direct Fire Star. I'm pretty sure of that. Either way, it is in a box set that came out during the Mercenaries Kickstarter. By the way, that box in general is a great box. You get things like the Bane, the Highlander 2C, the Phoenix Hawk 2C, it's awesome. The Grizzly is a mean second-line heavy mech built by, unsurprisingly given the contents and directions of the box, Clan Ghostbear. It's one of my favorites even, so that's awesome. A new Ilclan era mech is also going to be making an appearance in the form of the Rime Otter, which is like a small grizzly with a brutal weapons package. I also love this thing. It first shows up in the recognition guides for the new Ilclan era. I've not had a chance to meaningfully get my hands on it in-game, and I don't get to game anywhere near as much as I'd like to, but I might be able to play this thing in Alpha Strike as a part of an ACES campaign. So, ha! Let's start looking into the last three we're going to see on board in this set, and let's start with the ever-venerable Firemoth, or Dasher. Its speed is seemingly unlimited, and it looks like this is going to be one of the laser configurations, which are particularly infamous. It's going to be awesome. And then there were two. One of my favorite clan mediums, especially after its visual redesign, is the Grendel. Originally called the Mongrel by the clans, it's now just called its inner sphere name, the Grendel. I think it's awesome. No, not in that it's 80 tons. In that it is a fast-moving, brutal striking medium mech that has a sharp look. Super fun to play on the tabletop. And finally, there is the Arctic Cheetah. It's a light mech. Yeah! So that's everything that's coming in the box mech-wise. Beyond that, it's going to have a new ACES deck that is tailored to a different playstyle, and of course it's going to have paper assets for putting things together for terrain that fit in with an Alpha Strike board. I think there's also going to be another campaign inside of this as well. The current plan, as far as I know, for the release of this box is supposed to be August. Though as with anything, these dates can move around. It could get pushed to September or October, just depending on a variety of situations. I'm just excited for more Ghost Bears myself, and it really works well as a Ghost Bear box in general. I think this is going to land before any other clan's dedicated force packs as well, barring the Scouring Sands, which was basically a Jade Falcons box. So, Clan Wolf is in third place there. Right where they belong. In last place. There is more big news though, in that a lot of people who love aerospace as a part of the game or as its own game, or just flying combat games in general, are going to be happy that Aerotech is making an appearance again. And they've even got miniatures they're showing off for it. Some shots were shown off by fans at Adepticon, and it was mentioned by Randall Bills on their livecast during the event as well. So, there is a new aerospace force pack in the works, with the first one being for the Lyran Commonwealth. Outside of the Visigoth and Shalone, which were put into production during the first two Kickstarters, they've apparently got 3 more designed already, and they were shown off as 3D test models at the event. I know they are also working on an independent rule set for aerospace combat as well. So aerospace is actually a bit closer to returning than I originally thought. Now, Aerotech has traditionally struggled to find a footing. It's pretty clear that a new game being put into development is going to lean heavily on new miniatures to help sell the game, which will be dependent on a fun, playable rule set. I'm interested in picking up these models, and I know the rules really aren't ready for broad playtesting or anything yet, otherwise we probably would have all heard about it. Or at least whatever they're doing is not reaching any type of public format. But I am curious in terms of if this will find an audience that will carry forward a full game, and have an active community. I hope it does, just because I think it'd be neat to see more of these things on the table, and more of them in the artwork. Coming quite soon, but I'm not exactly sure when, is the next campaign sourcebook from Catalyst Game Labs. The last one we really got was the Hinterlands book. Well, this time it looks like we're going to be getting the same treatment for the Draconis Reach, which is also the name of the new book. For those of you who don't know, this is now the disputed region between the Federated Suns and the Draconis Combine. This book should delve into the major players taking part in the region, as well as providing campaign rules for the units in the area and for players wanting their mercenaries to dive in. Some copies of these did end up in the wild, from Adepticon no less, but in general, public release is coming quite soon. It is literally at the warehouse, from my understanding, so big hype on that front. I'd argue story-wise, the Combine versus the Federated Suns ended up being the best storyline of the late Dark Age and into the early Ilclan era. It's also an area ripe for exploration, now that Toranaga has exited the stage, and new combatants can line up. The warring won't be as intense as the fighting over New Avalon, both in its fall and in its liberation, or on Palmyra, but it's still going to be something to behold, I am sure. Later this year, the real fifth pillar of the sourcebooks for the Ilclan era is going to make it to us, and I think it sounds amazing from what I've managed to piece together so far. The Matter of the Pleiades is going to be focusing on the Taurian Concordat, the Calderon Protectorate, as well as the surrounding powers and the conflict regions bordering this chaotic, yet reunifying area. Players from around the Inner Sphere are going to be involved. A huge swathe of space, the Pleiades Cluster, is going to be in place, and will be the basis for a major campaign around it. Apparently, we're also going to be getting insights into the periphery from around the Inner Sphere. This is probably the book I'm most excited for right now, as I really think we're going to get some great insights into the Concordat and other parts of the periphery. While the periphery will never be central to Battletech, in the Ilclan era it has literally gotten more attention per book than it has in forever. This is genuinely really exciting, at least to me. I can't wait for this one. Timeline of release? Probably this year? Outside of that, I have no idea. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on the fiction end of things, outside of sourcebooks. First of all, there is the Dominion Civil War series, which is being written by Brian Young. The first book, in fact, is already out in the wild. I wrote a review for it even, and did the audio for it, but I realized it ended up spoiling too much. Then when I cut it down, it was a really hollow video, so I just didn't go ahead with the review on it. You know, it would have just been me saying, there's a book that came out, you want to see this for 5 minutes? It's just not really necessarily helpful to actually giving people my thoughts on it. Though I will say I really did enjoy Star-Crossed Warriors. It's the first of 4 books no less. And yesterday, part 2 dropped, which is most fittingly named A Plague on Rasalhague, which I've also read and I think is a ton of fun. As fun as a brutal civil war can be, really. What I can spoil about both of these books is that they center on 2 Rasalhagian characters, Vesper and Strider, and their relationship to one another and to the society around them. It really is trying to give some life to the Rasalhague Dominion Civil War that we really didn't get in the Ilclan era's Dominion Divided sourcebook. If you're wanting Ghost Bear content, or even Rasalhague content, this is really the place to get it for the moment. Part 2, in my opinion, is a massive payoff for those who read Part 1. It's also a great halfway point in the series. Just the way these are written, I really don't want to spoil anything by going over them too much in detail, so I am sorry. I believe Part 3 and 4 will be coming later this year, and I am excited for those as well. But there are yet more books coming as well. Another by Brian Young is on the way after this time pointing towards splinters of the old Kelhounds, and exploring one of the darkest moments in the history of House Kel and their soldiers. The book is going to be following the Ghost Dogs, a unit I've covered on the channel before, in their quest to liberate Tim Cavici, which I suspect is being still held by the Jade Falcons. They're being brought in to do this by Calandra Kel, the current head of House Kel, and the current master of the reconstituted Kelhounds. Ghosts of Tim Cavici, I suspect, is as much about the Ghost Dogs as it is about the decimation and near annihilation of the Kelhounds at the hands of Malvina Hazen's Jade Falcons. Given that they were utterly sundered on Tim Cavici, and given the name of the book, and the unit involved, well, yeah. Looks like Mallory and his mutts are headed to the gravesite of the Kelhounds. What's going to happen there? I haven't the slightest of clues. But I've followed the Ghost Dog so far, and I've enjoyed this series of books, so I will be happy to check it out. What's the worst thing that could happen? Getting to read about Malvina being a nice lady to everyone in the Kelhounds? Oh no! To be clear, I don't know if they're going to give us flashbacks of the annihilation of the Kelhounds on Tim Cavici, but that'd be pretty cool. And I like the Kelhounds, but like, Malvina's Falcons are pretty cool. They should have won on Terra. Finally, there are other books in the works too. These ones don't have titles, but apparently there is going to be a novel by Tom Levine, the author of The Blood Will Rise, which is intended to be like a mix of Black Hawk Down and Battletech. So that'll be interesting to see. I am eagerly awaiting more details to really get an idea of what we're looking at. Then, Jason Hardy is bringing forward his Death Heads Mercenary Corps in their first full-length novel. I don't think this one has a title yet either. Jason wrote one of my favorite Free World stories from the Dark Age too, so big props to Jason. Oh, what's that? More fiction? Sure, why not? The last drop is that Shrapnel issue 25, for those who partake in the short story magazine, is slated to drop in June, and is a double-sized issue. It is twice the volume of stories. I'm not sure what specific stories lay within, but I'm sure there will be a few gems inside, depending on your tastes. Alright, I think that's it. I forgot to mention, I am also in a role-playing series currently playing on 6 Sides of Gaming called The Magnificent Seven. They've just started to drop Season 2. If you want to see me play a terrible bad guy named Casimir, check it out. Don't worry everyone, I felt completely ashamed of myself by the end of that playthrough. Though I would like to now thank everyone for joining me here today. If you've enjoyed this content, you know the usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And feel free to share this video if you want to give a general update to people on the news I've acquired since the huge news video about the new core rulebook and core sets. As usual, a huge thank you to all of the YouTube channel members. I couldn't do this without you guys. All of the fiction I've heard about is largely interesting, at least to me. Obviously, I'm also interested in the Merrick Mercenary Pack for the Camachos, if for no other reason than for the glorious new Grand Titan. And I love the Dominion, so Snowblind is another exciting one for me. That says nothing of my interest in the Pleiades book too. Also a big shout out to the Dominion Civil War series. I think it's doing a lot to actually try to fix, or at the very least address, a lot of the problems that story had when it was initially let out. But what is the most exciting to you? Let me know in the comments section below. I will also have links to any of the books that are currently out that I have mentioned in this video. Check them out in the top pinned comment in the comment section. And also, there is a Locust video that I have finished the audio for. It will be dropping next week. Apologies for the delay, everyone. I just couldn't get it done in time for this weekend. And with that, I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you all in the comments section below.